Hi, Infinity and O here. I'm just gonna do a kind of a rant, or I'm just gonna start talking here. I haven't done a video in a while. The reason for that being that one of the reasons is that I had some more technical issues with. Seems like I'm having a lot of bad luck with hard drives lately, and I had a hard drive crash on my laptop, which is where I do a lot of my editing. My process is maybe a little bit more complicated than most users. I'm not comfortable just putting a camera in front of my face and starting to talk. I might do that at some point, but right now I'm just getting in front of a microphone and doing everything there, and then putting the video together from that. So that laptop going down for a while, it took me a few weeks to get around to having the time and the resources to fix it, but I did fix it, so we're back going again. And there have also been some other things, just life things that have gotten in the way of having the time to be able to put together videos and doing that sort of thing. I haven't even gotten to where I want to be in terms of everything I want to talk about. There's a couple of videos that I have in the works that are very important topics, very sort of the heart and soul of what I want the channel to be about, and in the sense that they represent the types of topics that I want to cover. But today I'm just trying to get going, so I just want to sit and talk and put out something just to get it out there. And probably there's very few people that are going to listen to this, but I'm just really kind of saying all this stuff to about why the channel is not really moving or whatever, all that sort of thing. I'm just really kind of documenting for my own purposes, I guess. And it's also kind of cathartic to just talk things out. So the topic that I'm gonna sort of get going with here is the topic of optimism in the society versus pessimism, I guess you could say. And I think it's curious because it seems like everyone wants to be an optimist. Like, it's a bad thing to be a pessimist. And I'm just wondering if that's really the case, because I mean, well, look, even the most dire sounding people in the world. There's a guy on TED Talks who did a TED Talks about, I don't know, it was a few months ago, it might have been a year ago, and I don't recall his name, but he did this talk that was called "The World is Full," I believe was the title of his presentation. And in the presentation, he's going on about all these very dire issues that are facing mankind. We're running out of resources. The population is just continuing to grow and grow and grow, and it's out of control, and there's not going to be enough for everybody, and there's going to be problems. Energy resources are going to start declining in the face of a population growth, and it's going to change the world. It was his basic presentation, and he gets through running off all this stuff that's just terrible really depressing to listen to and to face, and then he gets to the end of it and says, "Oh, but I'm an optimist." And so it just struck me as a little strange, and then he had to sort of explain why he was an optimist, like yeah, I think we can do this. I think we can get past this, something along those lines. But I think the guy's full of shit. I think he's a pessimist. Just say you're a pessimist. We can't, and then there's the whole, a lot of people that say pessimistic things and get accused, if you say things that sound pessimistic, just automatically get accused of being a pessimist, of course. And the response isn't, oh, yes, I'm a pessimist. Absolutely, I'm a pessimist, of course. The response is, well, I'm not a pessimist. I'm just realistic. And it's really funny that you just can't admit in this society that you are, in fact, a pessimist if you have those types of views. And I just find it's interesting, from psychologically and socially, that being a pessimist is such a bad thing. And that whole comment of I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist, is sort of pointing to the problem, and sort of pointing to what I'm trying to get at here, and that's that we need pessimism if pessimism is going to be productive for us. Optimism can be delusional. You can be an optimist and just be completely delusional about what we're facing. Or you can be realistic and look at our problems and be just called a pessimist. But why can't we just embrace that? I think we need pessimists to come out and say, look, this is bad. It's going to get worse. It's going to keep getting worse if we don't do something about it, And of course, that's where the guy was trying to point to his optimism, was the doing something about it part in the TED Talks video. Maybe I'll post a link to that. It's actually a really good one. And it's a little strange because most of the TED Talk videos they get pretty annoying after a while, because most of them are just, we can build this wonderful magical world, and everything is wonderful, and I like the TED Talks video. I'm not downplaying those. I enjoy them, but it was a little strange to have this guy on there, and so maybe he had to say he was an optimist as opposed to a pessimist, because he was on TED Talks. You can't be a pessimist on TED Talks, or at least that's the general feeling I have about it. I actually haven't watched one in a while, so maybe they've explored some darker territories. But getting back to the issue, if things are really bad, then we have to face it, and we need the pessimists to come out and say, look, this is bad. There's nothing wrong with being a pessimist if that's what the situation requires. There's nothing wrong with being an optimist if that's what the situation requires. You don't want to be a pessimist when there's no reason to be, and then you're just bringing everybody down for no reason, and that has a poor psychological effect. And that's something we have to battle, right? And that's probably the reason why no one wants to be the pessimist. No one wants to be the bad guy, bringing everybody down, But my point is that if it's productive, then it's a good thing. But, you walk around society today and people are just so, they're so oblivious to all of these events that are going on around them. I talk to people from time to time about some of the more dire types of issues that we may be facing. And most of the people I talk to, just average everyday people on the street, just acquaintances I have and that sort of thing, they don't even know, you say peak oil, and they don't even know what that is. They've never heard of it. Or if they have heard of it, they don't understand it. Like they think it's, there's no more oil in the ground. That's what they think it means. And it's just really unfortunate. The same as, with climate change and stuff like that. I've heard people say, well, yeah, there's really extreme, you'll have one extreme weather event that's really warm, and then you have another one that's really cold, and they kind of balance each other out. No, the whole point is that they're not balancing each other. There's an imbalance. That's the whole point. There's not enough heat escaping into space, and that's why we're having a problem. So it's actually not balancing itself out. They say things like that, though. People are just not even aware of these problems, and a lot of it has to do with the way things are reported in the media or not reported in the media. People just don't understand it, and now I don't blame the media. I'm not one of those people that blames the media. I mean, sure, you can blame them because they're doing a poor job, but it's really the individuals that are, each individual in this society is producing that situation where it's profitable for the media to dumb everybody down. And that's just the situation we have because there's no demand from people in general to give us what's really going on. People say that they say that they really want to know what's going on, but then they go and watch the shows that are just telling them what they want to hear. And I think I've talked about this type of stuff before, but it kind of flows into this optimism pessimism thing. If you don't want to hear the bad stuff, you only want to hear the stuff you want to hear. That's how a lot of people are, if not most people. I, for one, I'm not trying to say I'm this great person and I'm just, above all blame or anything in this whole mess we're in. But I try to at least aim for demanding the facts and the truth and the best possible model of reality I can get that will reflect reality in the best way. That's what I shoot for. Even if you shoot for that, you're not always going to be successful. You're still going to have times where you're just you want something to be true, and so then you go looking for the stuff that backs it up. I mean, there's always that threat, but if you're aware that it's possible that it's there, and you can kind of stop yourself, and it's like, wait a minute, let me look at all sides of this issue, that sort of thing. So I guess I'm going to try to wrap this up here. I hope that we can start giving pessimism its due, because no one is listening right now. And if we just keep telling everybody everything's okay, you don't have to worry about anything. We're never going to solve these issues, and I think we can maybe not solve everything, but at least mitigate the damage to the point where we won't have a complete and total catastrophe. In the case of things like climate change and peak oil. And these are videos, by the way, that I want to do in the future, but I don't want to just sit in front of the mic for those videos. I want to have those videos. I have a little higher standard, so I don't want to just start talking about it like I'm doing now. But I just want to say, optimism is fine when it's called for, but so is pessimism. So let's give pessimism its due. I would like to, if anyone is listening, please let me know what you think about all this in the comments, or a video response would be good. Just please let me know, and pass it along. Thanks for listening.